As scammers' techniques start to be identified by the general populace, they steal less and less money, so they have to modify their tactics in order to increase the amount of revenues that they're bringing in, especially as the number of scammers increases. Now, Peter Ugboko, or however you say that, I don't really know. Well, I assume this is an African name, but I really don't know for sure. It says that it's on Gmail, and I went into the original message, the message source, and I looked up the IP address that is associated with this. Now, there are two IP addresses here. There's an internal IP address, which you really can't do anything with, and then there's the external one here. And I took that one and I put it into ICANN's database and searched for it, and it came up as being a Google direct allocated IP address, which means that they don't have any information to give to me as to who owns it, and they just give advice on how to report it as being as an IP address that is being abused. So you could follow these instructions here and contact network-abuse@google.com. However, it would be easier just to, instead, you can mark it as a scam. Okay, well, we'll do that in a minute. But for now, I want you to take a look at this. This is not an interesting tactic. This is a more common tactic, showing that the person is trying to trick you into believing that you've communicated with them before and that they have gotten to the point where the funds are ready to be transferred to you or have already been transferred to you. In this case, you still don't have the funds, and now this guy is going to pass you off to Mr. Armani Castro, 2020@gmail.com. Very creative that they used Mr. in the email address and that they used 2020, which implies the email address was just made last year. I don't really know. I'm not going to bother to research that because it's not important. Now, I want you to contact my secretary and ask him for a ATM MasterCard worth of USD 1.2 million, which I kept for you as a compensation for your past assistance to me. Wow. Okay, so I apparently did something major for Mr. Ugboko to the point that he wants to pay me a ton of money. Well, at least that's what he's trying to convince me has happened. I have no idea who this person is. I've never worked for this person, and I've certainly never earned $1 million in my life. So this is just more nonsense. Okay? So the fact that it's claiming or implying prior service to this man and he's wanting to pay such a huge amount of money lets you know that there is a scam going on here, and that it's, I don't think it's really particularly relevant that it's an ATM MasterCard. But he wants you to give him this information, which you haven't given him yet. So there's no way he can use it as confirmation that you are who you say you are. Which is, you'd think, well, why would a legitimate person do this? Well, a legitimate person would do this perhaps if they were fearful that your email communication was being intercepted by a third party, and the third party would theoretically not have this information. However, that would not necessarily be true. And even though he emailed you, he can't be reached by email because he's in London. Yeah, that's nonsense. So, there are also the mistakes made in this, which there aren't that many, but there are mistakes made in this email that help me to understand that this guy is a fraud. And so all I've really got to do here is mark over here, and it depends on which email service you're using, but you're going to mark it as phishing because that's what it is. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope you have a great day.